Hi everyone, from me, Brent Graham, Thursday night, 9 o'clock, time for the Handicap Rugby Chat That Matters. Well, a little bit different tonight. There is a bit of rugby taking place this weekend, the NPC, but I must be honest, I'm not following that very closely because I'm absolutely gagging for the Rugby World Cup to get going, and I know most of you guys out there are as well. Well, we've got plenty to talk about tonight. We've got what I'd like to call the old firm here. One of them a regular guest who's come on a lot over the last few years, and let's start with him. He's wearing a very interesting shirt there. Looks like all the World Cup teams on it. It's the Undertaker, Henrik Swart. Henrik, you must be absolutely looking forward to this World Cup, bearing in mind that you're going to be in France towards the latter stages.
Oh, Brent, I can't wait. I've been the excitement is building, and I'm getting into the mood. I've got the shirt. It's got all the teams on, all the badges of the teams. I got myself some Bok socks here. I ordered my jersey, my World Cup Bok jersey. I'm still waiting for that. I've got the Bok boxers here. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to the World Cup. I can't wait. I took my 7-year-old son this afternoon. I bought him a Bok shirt. So, yeah, we can't wait for the World Cup. And like you said, I'm going over for 2 quarterfinals. So, yeah, I'm very excited and been having a look at the betting, and we'll get to that. But just for the rugby and also the betting, I can't wait for this World Cup.
Well, Mark Dunphy called it then. He said, a blast from the past. It's the prodigal son returning. He hasn't been on the show for ages. He's got a preview up on Good for the Game as well. You can link to that down below. He's written that one for Boyle Sports, but it's Couch Critic. Couch, great to have you back on the show, man. It's going to be difficult for you to speak a bit of English, but I'm going to ask you to try.
How's it, Brent? Thanks. I'll try my best. I was going to say, I think from the last time we were on the show together, Henrik has obviously lost 10 Ks and I've put 10 Ks on. So he's going in the right direction and me not.
Excellent. Well, I can tell you what, thank goodness you can only see me from the chest up. That's what I'll tell you about putting weight on at the moment. But guys, loads to look forward to. Just welcoming all the guys in the live chat there. Alex, good to see from you. Alex messaging me this week. He's keen to come on a few shows during the World Cup as well. Just very quickly, as far as the handicap goes, I was looking at the schedule of games now. We've got a couple of Thursday nights where there will be matches. So we're probably going to move the main show to Friday about lunchtime. It also means we'll have probably all of the markets and that for the weekend. So we'll do that. But we're going to look to do a few other shows as well. It won't just be the sort of main handicap show. We'll do some other previews. Anybody else got any ideas they want us to do or anything like that, give us a shout. There's the Crow Tips saying, good to see old Couch Critic there. Yes, it's great to have Couch back in the hot seat. But gents, let's talk a little bit of Rugby World Cup betting. And Couch, I'm going to start with yourself. You wrote that outright preview, but have you started really investing any money yet, or are you still really fishing for information, getting ready to make a big move?
Brent, I like to steer clear of punting with the heart. So I wasn't listening to anyone on the box, and now I'm really kicking myself that I didn't get involved in the Springboks a heck of a long time earlier. It's not just based on this past weekend's performance. I think that would be foolish, but it just all of a sudden seems to be clicking for the box in terms of if you just take a step back. They've got an uncomplicated style. They seem to be in a good space now with a lot of guys coming back. I think that was the fear that your Peter Steff the Toys, Dwayne Vermeulen, they weren't going to be at the same level that they were in the previous World Cup, and all of a sudden it just looks. Sia was back from injury and he's playing top rugby all of a sudden again, and it's just looking great. That pack of forwards was showing their grunt. It's almost like they were operating at 80 or 90, and all of a sudden we can see they've still got that 100% in them. So that's all good. Obviously, Polly is the only big concern for the box and the draw, but I suppose we'll have a chat about that still. But no, it's looking all systems go, and as you see from the preview, I think it's a France and South Africa. To me, they're the guys who've got the boxes ticked, but it'll be tough for the two of them to meet in the final.
Right, well, Henrik, before we start going through the individual teams, because I want to run through the sort of top teams individually, and then we'll look at some of the exotic markets. But you've been singing the box praises all along. But ironically, I know last week you thought this is the last week I'm opposing the box. You and me were kind of in the same position there. I actually got a bit lucky. I took that bet. It was a newsletter best bet, in fact, the Mani Lebok over 8.5 points. I didn't expect to get there via 5 conversions, I can tell you. So that was pretty fortunate. But, the box performance last week, yes, it's a warm-up game, but you can see the way the New Zealand media are going on. It's really shaken things up, hasn't it?
Yeah, Brent, I didn't see that coming. I said I think the box will hold back. But yeah, they didn't really hold back there. I don't think New Zealand held back either. That was just a very good performance by the box. I lost money. I was on New Zealand on the minus. terrible bet. And I think I was overs on New Zealand points as well. All my bets lost on that game. Very impressive by the box. And I watched the handicap, not the handicap, the breakdown New Zealand show where for 52 minutes they just moaned some more, moaned about the ref, moaned about how slow the game was and everything. And Jeff Wilson said, this is the best the box can play and stuff like that. I think the box didn't actually play at the best. They stuffed a few tries up. They can play much better than that. But yeah, it was great seeing France Malherbe destroying their scrum. I'm a big fan of France. He's my favorite player in the world. And yeah, I really enjoyed the scrums. The maul was good. A guy like Kane and Moody it's just young guys coming into the team, slotting in so smoothly. It's like they are coached so very well that anybody can come into the team. The game plan is so simple, but it's so tough to play against the box. So everybody knows exactly what they have to do. They come in, they do it like they should. Yeah, it's tough seeing anybody beating the box, in my opinion. Like you said, I've been strong in the box for a while, and that aside, just at the moment, that Wales game 2 weeks ago and this game now, obviously we'll see now what happens against Scotland, but you know, I'm pretty confident that the box will beat Scotland and Ireland, and yeah, I see the box going all the way.
Right, just to answer a couple of questions in the live chat, Stefan, where did I get that Marnie bet? It was one of the sporting bet specials last week, so I got that over 8.5 points. I think it was priced at 10 to 11. I just saw Mark Dunphy there say I should do a competition on the show with a prize, a trip to the Rugby World Cup final. So I'm not sure if I should read into that Mark Dunphy is in fact sponsoring that trip to the Rugby World Cup final, in which case I'd also like to say that I will be accompanying the winner to go and watch the final in France. But we are going to have a competition tonight. In fact, it's just conditional upon me. I moved computers, so I don't have yes, I'll be able to do it now. Basically, we'll just do a lucky draw. Anybody who comments in the live chat, we're giving away a 500 Rand poker bet voucher tonight. So anybody comments in the live chat there, we'll give that voucher. We'll do the draw away just before the end of the show. But let's get onto the betting itself. And I'm going to start off. I'm looking at Boyle Sports here. We'll bring up their site a little bit later for some of the exotics. But Henrik, let me start with you. Your New Zealand are 16-5. That's just over 3-1. They were as short as 5-2 in places, and I think they may still be. Boyles have certainly pushed their odds out quite nicely. But New Zealand at 16-5 on the drift, you'd have to say. And I know that this probably goes without saying, but they're not getting any of your money in this World Cup.
Yeah, Brent, New Zealand, they have improved the last year, and especially in the forwards. And they are, like I said, they are off my naughty list, so I'm backing them again. I haven't been back. I've opposed them or not bet on their games for the last 3 years or so, but they've definitely improved with Jason Ryan. But you know, they're going to have a tough quarterfinal. They're probably going to play the Box or Ireland, and Ireland have had their number for a few years now. They really struggle against Ireland, and earlier against the Box in the Rugby Championship, they put us away in that first 15 minutes. So that didn't look quite good. But yeah, at that price, Brent, you're probably getting the biggest price on New Zealand for a World Cup that there's ever been. So you're probably getting value on New Zealand, but they're going to have a very tough quarterfinal. So for that reason, I'm not going to be able to back them. Yeah,
no, fair enough. Kat, yourself, New Zealand, what sort of dog did you describe them as in your preview? Can you remember?
Yeah, I was a border collie. You know, they've got some chicks and everyone's favorite, but I think they might lack a bit of bite. So I think value-wise, it's actually, I don't think anyone is value in pool A and B. It's just you're going to be eliminating two guys. So that's why I've been a bit long-term, as they say, on backing the Box. But you have to go for one of those four, and that's where I decided to put my chips. But anyone in those four, it's almost the case of you got to decide in the other leg who's your favorite and try and back them some way or another. That's my approach, apart from picking one of the four. And obviously then at pretty much 3-1, you got to pick out of those four, and then to me it's between France and the Box.
Well, let's go on to France now. We've got France also. I'm pretty sure this is one of the bigger prices France available. I've seen generally 3-1. And just to mention, if you don't have a Boyle Sports account yet, we'd appreciate you supporting us. There's a link down below which will take you to either Couch's preview or my review of Boyle Sports. I had a look at their rugby betting. Or you could just go straight on to Good for the Game and click on the banner, but we would appreciate that support. France 67-20. Couch, I guess we said we've had a few guys on the show over the last few weeks. We've all ended up basically saying the same thing. Yeah, maybe like, for example, here, not a bad price, but no one really wants to get too involved with that big quarterfinal looming. But do you think at what sort, let me put it to you this way, if you wouldn't back France at this price, at what sort of price would they start tempting you?
Well, I actually think if you think they might slip up in that first game, then you're going to be able to pick them up at a great price. If you back them to get the quarterfinal job done against either Ireland or South Africa, then maybe let them slip up against New Zealand, which might not happen, but that's probably your best shot. Obviously, you'd love a 5-1 about the French, and I think the big thing in everyone's mind is just whether they've lost that inconsistency. Everyone has been saying this is a new French team. They've come through the system with this youth side and the coaching setup, but still, and you see in French derbies, when they've got the home ground advantage, they're great. So it shouldn't be a case of them choking under the pressure of home ground advantage, but it's just a case of that consistency, being able to beat the best of the best 4 weeks in a row, and that they have to do with this draw. We all know they can beat anyone. I think maybe some of our Southern Hemisphere guys don't know the French as well. I think on their day and probably 60 to 70% of the time, they've got this perfect blend of rugby. They can play exciting stuff. They've got skills all around. Even their forwards can carry and so some fancy things, but they still do the hard graft. They can really get stuck in. Paul Willemse and those guys are in your face, so they don't stand back in that part. And that's why I think they've got New Zealand covered pretty much across the park. And now it's just a case of them having that headspace and knowing that they can do it on the day against anyone. But I do feel the last little while they haven't quite been at the top, and now it's just a case of, was it planned that way, or they're just trying to taper themselves into the event, or have they lost a little bit of that air of invincibility? I think they've lost only 2 games in the last 18 months or something like that, or 2 years. So they're obviously a great team, and it's just a case of whether they're going to be able to peak now for this one.
Yeah, I agree with your comments 100%. I mean, it also almost reminds me a little bit of Ireland in sort of 2018. They were at their absolute best, but by the time the World Cup rolled around, they just stepped off that bit. And France are reminding me a little bit of that, although they've shown patches of brilliance that make me think they certainly could go all the way. So, Henrik, your opinion on France, and then I'd like your opinion on a bit of an exotic bet that I found. And my view is this: if France win the Rugby World Cup, I can hardly look past Dupont as the player of the tournament. And I think I saw, and I can't remember where I saw it, and I'll look at Boyles, and I may even been with him. I'm sure I saw like 7-1 Dupont to be player of the tournament. And my view is rather almost, okay, look, it could go horribly wrong, but take double the price France and back to Dupont to be player of the tournament. They may even lose the tournament and he could still get the award. So, yeah, what do you think of that one, Henrik?
Yeah, Brent, if they go out, they're probably going to go out in the quarters like Farid just commented there. Because if they get through their quarter, they're probably going to make the final. I can't see them losing their semi-final then. That's a decent price on France for a home World Cup for them. You've got to respect the home field advantage they have, especially with their crowds. And you got to remember the TV directors as well will be French, so you're going to have a few replays that suit them and stuff like that. The refs will be influenced a bit by the crowd as well. So, yeah, that's a decent price on France. They're the only team that I'm worried about. I'm calling a France-South Africa final. I think France will beat New Zealand, even though they are dropping like flies. I see Jonathan Dante is out as well now for the first game. I still think France will beat New Zealand in that first game, and they will top the group, and South Africa will top their group. So they will meet in the final. They won't meet in the quarterfinals. For me, going over for the quarterfinals, I won't mind France-South Africa game because I think that will be a brilliant game to watch. And then, like you said, Antoine Dupont, probably the best player in the world at the moment. But I think if you can put his pack under pressure, you can find him out. Like against Australia, he was good, but yeah, his pack really not well. They weren't that great in the scrums, but he got good ball, and when he's got some space, he's very good. He's brilliant. So you just have to put pressure on his pack and on him. And then he's still good, but he can't do that magical things that he does. The other thing is Thomas Ramos, probably the best goal kicker in the world at the moment. He seldomly misses. So I'd be looking at. I know he's the favorite, but I think a good bet for him to be top point scorer as well, especially if they go to the final. Not the best price. I think it's around about 3-4 to 1 thereabouts. But yeah, that's a plus for them as well. If they get into position and they get a penalty, he's going to slot it. So he's going to keep the scoreboard rolling. So yeah, that French, the only team I'm worrying about for the box. I think that's a decent price. More than 3 to 1 on France at home. It's a good price.
Right. Well, Henrik, we'll stick with you then. You've already spoken about the box. We got them at 18 to 5.
Brent, can I just quickly come in there? DuPont is in fact 11 to 1 player of the tournament with Boyle Sport.
Jeez, yeah, that's a big price. That's a big price.
Yeah. That's big.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no more. In fact, ignore what Couch said there, because I'd like to get my bet on before any of you jump on that one. Yeah, that is a big price, that's for sure. Henrik, South Africa 18 to 5. I mean, are you already quite involved in South Africa? I know you've liked them for a long time. Or you're a bit like me these days that can't afford to tie money up long term and waits for the tournament. What's your situation?
Brent, I have one bet on the World Cup long term at this moment, and that is South Africa to win. I got them just under 5 to 1 about 2 weeks ago or a week ago, thereabouts. So yeah, I've got one bet. It's not as big as I would like on the box. So I'm gonna search for the best price, which is probably gonna be Boyle Sport, and I'm gonna put more money on South Africa. But I'm not gonna. I don't have to go on about South Africa again. You've heard me about South Africa, so I like the box to win the tournament, and I'm definitely gonna put some more money on them.
Right, we'll have a good look at that to play the tournament later there. When I bring up some of the exotic markets. Couch, we already know your position. You put this in your preview. You do like the South Africans there. Yes, like you, I think anybody back in South Africa now will wish they'd rather got on at the 5 to 1 level where Henrik got on. But anything else to add on South Africa? Anything that stands out in the exotic markets for them?
No, Brent, I just think on South Africa, the only interest I have is I usually like to do in advance, as you say, you don't want to put down a big bet and tie it up. So I usually try a few multis. So in the lead up, like a couple of months in advance, I'll take a cycle punt or something and then back it up with South Africa to win the comp. So I have a little bit of an interest there, but that's the way I try to build a bit of bank going into the World Cup with someone I fancy. So I do have a little bit on South Africa, but as Henrik said, it's about shopping around now and getting more interested. Then just on the South Africans, maybe, I don't know if you want to look at exotic specifically, but on the box, it's JC Kriel as top try scorer. Boyles, again, they've got 34 to 1 on JC Kriel to be top try scorer for South Africa, and that's massive. I mean, we know that South Africa don't go in with outside centre. Moody played one game now, but I mean that's nothing real. He might play the Romania game, but still, if JC plays all the other matches and he gets an opportunity to add some tries, get yourself to 4 or 5, and you're going to be a decent runner at that price. I think it's massive. As I said, no definite outside centre backup there, so JC should get plenty of game time.
Yeah, well, something you said offended Henrik, and he just hopped off. Now, I know Henrik has got load shedding at the moment, so his signal could be giving him a bit of problem. I'm pretty sure he'll be back soon. We'll go on to the next team on the list then, Couch, and it's Ireland, of course, also in that tough group with Scotland and South Africa. They've been very stable the last few months at 5 to 1. And anything that appeals to you there in terms of maybe the exotic markets for Ireland, even maybe an early exit for them? Have you had a look at anything there?
No, I must say I don't think it's as cut and dry in the pool there for the Scotland. Scotland have definitely got an opportunity to do something. Ireland and Scotland know each other so well. It wouldn't be the biggest surprise for Scotland to do something. I think it'll be very sad for Ireland. It's probably the best position they've been in. Again, it's a bit of a luck of the draw. Were they in the other section, Ireland would have been shooing for the semi-finals and have a decent shot at the final. and instead they go and get this group. I mean, we don't want to be sarcastic and say that the Boks are definitely going to beat them and anything like that, but it's just a tougher pool to be in, a tougher pool to try and get out. That quarter final looming for them, same as for South Africa, is a tough one. So it's you look at any price almost and you're a little bit scared. A year out, I was thinking Ireland are going to be tough to beat. They went to New Zealand, got the job done there, and they've just got this steeliness around them. It's almost like a little bit different to the French. To me, they're more conservative, but they know when to turn it on, and they've got a good defensive system, and they're solid up front, and they know how to scrap. I think that's the big thing. So, they're going to take a team like England and Aussies. They would have taken them down quite easily, but obviously the big boys are going to be tougher. So I can't really tell you what price I'd be able to take Ireland. As I said, it's just a tough side, but 5-1, they're definitely not. Again, if that's your pick out of the four, you're getting a great price at 5-1 if you think they're going to do the job.
Yeah, Chris making the point there as well. And I think it was Joe coming in also saying no one really backing Ireland at the moment, which probably a year ago everybody was. And I think that's a good point. I mean, Ireland have really done very little wrong, let's face it. Some of the other teams have just improved. So, yeah, Ireland, big runners, absolutely no doubt about it. And, I wouldn't back any of the teams in that side of the draw with any confidence at this stage. Johan saying if SA win the quarterfinal, he reckons they'll win the World Cup. And Fareed saying if Boks win, the Viking will be player of the tournament, and New Zealand win Ardie Severe. And Fareed, that's very much along the lines of what I'm going with Dupont. I'm saying if France win, I believe Dupont will be. It's not guaranteed. There are one or two other players you could stick their hands up, maybe the winger, when it's something like that. But if France win, I reckon Dupont. So if you take 11-1 Dupont rather than the sort of 3-1 France, that's kind of my logic there. Henrik, anything for you on the Irish? I mean, they did beat New Zealand last year, as Joe says. I think for some reason they've sort of like gone off the boil a little bit in all of our minds. But at the end of the day, this may actually be a case where they purposely not peaked too soon like they've done in other years.
Yeah, Brent, they are looking good. They have a good game plan, but they also, like the Boks, they have a very predictable game plan, in my opinion. And I think the Boks can beat them. They can bully them up front. So they can win against other sides, but they're going to have trouble against the Boks, in my opinion. Ireland, the way the Irish are playing the last few years and at the moment, 5-1 is a great price on them. But the 5-1 is probably because they are in such a tough pool, like Hein said. But yeah, they've got a terrible record at the World Cup. They've never made the semi-finals. So you've got to take that into consideration as well. I like history, and I always look at history. So yeah, Irish not for me. But yeah, it is a good price on them. If you fancy them, yeah, you're getting a very good price on a team playing very good rugby at the moment.
Just quickly, Jason coming in. Where's the 11-1 for Dupont? That's at Boyle, South Africa. They have launched now, Jason. As I say, I appreciate if you do want to open an account there, go through the Good for the Game website and click on the banner just to support us. We would appreciate it. But yeah, they've got some really good rugby prices, which is why we're having a good look at them tonight. Right, that's Ireland. I'm not going to run through all of the teams from here on in. Well, we'll run through a couple. Australia, 13-1. Now, this is fascinating, Henrik, in the sense that you've got, so far we haven't spoken about a team from the other side of the draw, so to speak. So we've got Australia here. In theory, quite an easy run to the semis. Certainly, the way they've been playing, and the same thing will apply to England when we chat to them. There's probably no gifts for them in terms of getting to the semi-finals. But 13-1, is there any value in that? Not necessarily am I saying are they going to win, but do you think 13-1 starting to get to the price where they should get some attention?
No, Brent. I'd rather than look at a smaller price to take them to make the semi-finals, maybe, but not. They're not going to make the final. So yeah, if they go deep into competition, they're going to get beaten in the semi-finals. So rather take a bit of a smaller price on them to make the semis. They're going to have to fight with Wales to go through, because I'm pretty confident that Fiji will go through to the quarterfinals. So yeah, it's between Australia and Wales then maybe even one of them get the top spot. But one of those two are going to get the third spot, most probably Wales. So you'll probably have Australia and Fiji going through the quarterfinals. But yeah, in the end, they're going to have they have a pretty tough pool as well, because Fiji are playing really good at the moment. And Georgia, don't throw away Georgia springing a surprise somewhere in that pool as well.
Yeah, there is some tough stuff there. I backed Australia. I've taken 12-1 Australia. They're not my main bet by any means, but I do see them making the semi-finals. I'm not the biggest Eddie Jones fan in the world, but I actually think they've got the side to go pretty far. Let's see what Couch is saying there. Couch, yeah, I think it was Chris Rose saying, can't believe you're tipping a centre's top try scorer and not a hooker. You've changed your ways.
Oh, we'll get there, Chris. We'll get there. But just Rian is definitely in agreement with this one. We've actually had a chat before, and I'm also taking 12-1 Brent, but I'm taking 12-1 stage of elimination. Australia being knocked out in the group stages. They're gonna lose to Fiji. They're pretty much gonna battle past Wales, and the only thing I'm hoping is that Georgia don't chip up Fiji after Fiji celebrate winning two big games and then making it a tough one. But 12-1 Australia not to make it out there in a horrible spot. I don't know what you're seeing there, Brent. To me, it's I don't know. You can be Robbie Deans, and he has been Robbie Deans before trying to help the Aussies, and it's no use at the moment. I mean, they've gone in with a squad that's got one fly off who's, I don't know, he's got 10 caps. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't know what I think he's literally trying to lower the bar this year so that he can improve going to the next World Cup or something. And I think he didn't want big shots around. He wanted to have the team doing what he wants them to do. And now he's I saw the A team play and I thought, geez, that looks better than the best team the Aussies can put out. So to me, it's a no-go on Australia. They've got the easy side of the draw. They can make it all the way. The road's been paved and they've got a puncher.
Okay, so I'm the only one who gives Australia even the faintest of hope. Talking of teams that are on the drift, I haven't seen a price this big. 16-1 England. I mean, they're generally around the 12-1 mark now. I mean, they've looked absolutely terrible. They seem to be in control early against Fiji, led 8-3 at the break, and were then comfortably, I'd say quite comfortably beaten by Fiji. England at 16-1, this must surely be tempting someone, Couch.
Someone in Liverpool maybe, but that's pretty much it, Brent. I think again, I think the only team worse than the Aussies at the moment are the English. That was absolute rubbish that they've been playing the last few games. They've gone in with, it's actually, if you look at the names, it's a solid squad, but it's just unbelievable how their levels have dropped. I actually think they should have gone the Aussie route and changed a lot of players because the guys just aren't there. I think the Saracens dip a couple of years ago left those guys cold, and I don't know, things just aren't clicking at the moment. So to me, it's such a pity that someone like Scotland isn't in this pool. They would have run over England, I think, and definitely been a runner for a semi-final. And it's just a case of whether Samoa has it in them to chip them up. I'm backing there. Actually, I haven't put it on any of the previews, I think, at this stage, but I'm backing Argentina in other ways, but I'm backing Argentina to win the pool, and I got that at 2-1. It's shortened quite a lot, so that was my big play. I'm really opposing England.
Okay, 100%. Well, let's get Henrik's comment on England. You know, from far, Henrik, that almost looks like an England jersey you're wearing.
Yeah, is England? Where's the England? On this side. This side. Yeah, there's the England rose. Yeah, I agree with 100% with Couch on that one. I'm pretty confident that Argentina will win that first game against England. If I remember correctly, that opened up the handicap a few months ago, 2 months ago, so opened up at 9.5. So England, they were 9.5 points favorite. Pretty much choice now. And if you still getting 9 to 10 on Argentina to win the game, it's a great price. But yeah, like Heinz said, rather take Argentina to win the tournament, to win the pool, and wait a few weeks longer if you have money that you can tie. You're gonna get 12 to 10 thereabouts probably for them to, maybe if you're lucky, 13 to 10 to win the group.
Almost 14 to 10. I see 14.5 to 10 basically. Is it? No. No, it's not that high. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah.
And like Heinz said, Samoa, they're playing quite well at the moment as well, and they've got a lot of experienced players from that's played for the All Blacks and other teams. They've got Tora Kefu coaching them, so they've got lots of World Cup experience as well, international rugby experience. Where in the past they had players playing all over in Europe, and then they come together to play for Samoa. So they've got guys that have been in pressure situations in test matches, and that's in their favor. And Japan not playing that well at the moment, but I think even Japan can trouble England at the moment. So yeah, England, they are in a world of trouble. So yeah, I can see Japan struggling and not even making third place in this group.
Right. So
England. I said England.
Yeah. A little bit of doom and gloom for England there. We'll go on to Argentina.
Brent, just on that quickly, I actually think I might have been wrong, but I think there was about 9-1 for England to be knocked out stage of eliminations in the group stages. So if Henrik is confident on that one, then it's probably a very good. I had a long look at
over
that.
8-1, just over 8-1.
Yeah,
that's value.
Over 8-1. Yeah, that's pretty decent. Yeah, so I mean, we'll also get into some of the other exotic markets now. I saw a question there about red cards and yellow cards. I think it was Peter Paul asking if we're going to have those. We will talk about those. But Henrik, let's talk about Argentina, because as much as England have sort of got no one putting any money on them, a lot of people looking at Argentina and going, gee, these guys have got a chance. And I'll bring Couch in after I bring you in. But if I remember correctly, and just to prove that I read his preview, I think one of his bets was Argentina to sort of make the final there, or stage of elimination, the final. What do you make of their chances? I know you, like me, are a big Michael Checker fan.
Yeah, Brent, I also read Couch's preview yesterday, and I remember him having that as one of his bets. 29-1 on Argentina to win the World Cup is definitely value. But I'd look at them to make, like Couch said, make the final, or a safer bet to make the semi-finals, because they're going to top the group. And they're going to have an easier quarterfinal. So, yeah, I'm pretty confident on them making the semi-finals. And, yeah, like I said, 29-1 to win the World Cup is great value, but I don't really see them going all the way. They're going to get tripped up in the semi-finals or the final. So, rather take them to make the semi-finals. I think that's at the price you're getting, that's a very good bet, in my opinion.
Right, I'll just have a look at the betting here. Argentina at stage of elimination, Couch, is just under 2-1, probably about 17-10 to be eliminated at semi-final. I think you got about 6 or 7-1 in the final. What are your thoughts on this Argentine side?
Yeah, I actually think the one I preferred a little bit that just wasn't available at that stage was to be the runners-up, so to be the losing finalist. As you guys say, I don't see them getting the job done in a 2-off, winning a tight semi and then winning a final. So I think that's probably about 16-1 for them to be 16-1 for them to be runners-up. As Henrik said, obviously it's the much more safer one is the semi-final, but I'd like to just have a runner in there. Obviously, if it's them against the box, I'm still in a good position where I want South Africa in the final. So it's not too bad. So I like that one. Obviously, for a month or whatever, 2 months, the 2-1 is a little bit tighter, but it's a good call. I mean, as again with anyone in that pool in that section of the draw, it's you paved for success there. You just need to have a decent run and keep your heads on. And I think Argentina, if I look at everyone there and I just evaluate, it was a case of as if you, Brent, I was like, Aussies, geez, they're gonna do it. I actually had a long-term punt on them probably 2 years ago at 12-1, and I cashed it out. I was just this is just gonna be a loser in any case. So I left it, and then I thought, okay, England, if they could be decent, and we've seen that isn't the case. So I've settled on Argentina. They're the ones, and as I said, it's such a pity. I would have been in the same boat on Scotland if it was Scotland in that section. I think they're the team with a lot of confidence, playing good rugby. So it's a pity for someone like them. But I'm backing Argentina, as you guys say. Checker there, and again, the poor man's France. When they get it right, they can play some beautiful stuff out wide, and they got a good pack of forwards. So no, they a decent team, and the semi-final is a good one.
Right, before we get into the other exotics, Catch, I mean, I'm not going to go through the rest of the teams. We've got 39-1 Scotland, 43-1 Wales, Fiji 110. I mean, anything else you'd see value in terms of backing to make the final or anything like that? Or we pretty much, the teams we've discussed, we're not going to look beyond there for our winner.
No, Brent, I don't think for runners, maybe someone will have the same thought as I did on Argentina on Wales to say, listen, Wales are going to make the semi-final because they've also got the same plum jaw, or maybe some miracle they're going to make it into the final, and that's going to be a good price as well. But the value one is probably a little bit in the group stages. It was halfway through that England game, they still had the betting up, and you could take Fiji to win the pool at a decent price. Don't ask me what it was, but that's the kind of bets that maybe was interesting. A Fiji to top that pool, as I said, Australia to be eliminated. Those kind of things is probably where the value was in terms of the group stages. But no, not outright winning the competition. I'm pretty much with Heinrich there. I think it's between 2 or 3 teams at the end of the day.
Right, Henrik, anything else to add on the outright sort of markets before we move on to some of the exotics?
Now, Brent, one other one that can maybe play out, Fiji to top their pool, pool C, and then Samoa to end second in the pool D after Argentina, and then Fiji and Samoa get each other in the quarterfinals, and then one of them to make the semi-finals. So if you fancy one of that, maybe Fiji to make the semi-finals, if it can play out that way. I think that's you can get some decent value on that as well.
Right, so some very interesting combinations. It's like we almost looking at 2 tournaments initially, groups A and B and groups C and D, and seeing how they're going to pan out. Right, guys, I'm not expecting you to have had a lot of time to research this and to go into a lot of details. So I'll just sort of skim through here. But if you guys have started looking at this, you can let me know. I see they've got under 350.5 tries. There's obviously been money for that. It's shortened to just under 5 to 10. And you've got over 355.5. We've got total tournament points at 2630.5. Yellow cards 59.5. Red cards over 5.5. I know there was an early line of I think 3.5 or 4.5, and that obviously got gobbled up. But 7 to 10 over 5.5, and we got things like total converted drop goals over or under 7.5. Henrik, have you had a chance to look at any of those type of markets yet? Anything that's appealing to you at this point?
I have had a look, Brent. I look at these. When Boyle Sport priced these up, this was basically around about the prices. So I'm not sure whether it was priced up in Europe and there was money there and they got the prices from there. So the money hasn't been over here and at Boyle. So it's strange prices. And you would have maybe liked the quote to change for it to be closer to a 9 to 10 or 17 to 20 or something like that. There's 48 games, and if you take that points, I worked it out 2630 divided by 48. You're looking at around about 55 points per game, the average. The previous tournament in Japan, there was lots of humidity around, so the unders worked very well there. I'm not sure whether it's going to be the case here. I think we might have a few higher scoring games here. So I'm not going to take a bet on. I think that 55 is very well set there. You're obviously going to have a few lower scoring games that have games early 40s and thereabouts, defensive games. But if anything, I'd look at overs on that points because 55.5 is well set in my opinion. But you're going to have a few higher scoring games. Price wise, the price is terrible on the over.
You'd rather, and I guess if this was the opening line, they're probably going to move the line soon, Henrik, because you'd rather have the line move to like say 340.5 and get like a 9 to 10 the pair there.
Yeah. The other one I maybe like, it's just also not a terrible price. All right, but about 7 to 10 on over 5.5 red cards. I can see there being like closer to 10 red cards. So 7 to 10, if you can maybe put it in a multiple with something else and get the price of 15 to 10 or something like that, something you like, because you should be able to put this in a multiple, then that isn't a bad bet. And then somebody else posted this on the forum as well and on the red cards, and he posted about the drop goals. I think the unders and the drop goals is also a good bet, almost 8 to 10. I can't see a lot of drop goals.
Yeah, I must say I was a little bit surprised. I expected that line to be closer to sort of 4.5, 5.5. Couch, looking at these markets, have you had a chance to look at them yet?
No, I was leaving it to the undertaker to handle the points and the tries there. I was actually surprised he's not climbing into some unders. But no, I saw on the forum as well. To me, it was a pity we couldn't get involved in about a 9 to 10 on the red cards and the drop goal. That's money for Jam. I feel I don't think they're going to reach those levels, and it'll actually be interesting on the exotics. They don't often allow a double, but if you can hit the double on the red cards and the drop goals, that's going to be a nice price already. So I'm gonna attempt that one and see whether it sticks to me. As I said, definitely I can't see the yellow cards. I was obviously ready to get that going. Everyone, Henrik talked about the breakdown show, and everyone's talking about the ref and the bunker and what have you. So, and the eye hits and everything. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see a heck of a lot of yellows, but that does seem a bit of a high quote. But I might still have a dip there since the price is in our favor, not at the 9 to 10 line. So maybe have a little bit, because even if you say it's one yellow, you can almost guarantee one yellow a game. I don't see a lot of games. Maybe the real minnows might do a 0 yellow game, but the rest, and then you're definitely going to get a couple of games where you're going to get more than one per game. So to me, the yellows might be a little bit one. I just got to think about it a little bit, but the reds and the drop goals definitely stood out there.
Yeah, I must say.
Couch, I spoke to Gavin on Tuesday. We on WhatsApp we spoke a bit, and he told me that you should be able to take a multiple on these markets. So then the overs on the red cards and the unders on the drop goals isn't a bad bet.
It'd be quite nice if you can get that multi in. I think, it's kind of one of those things. I also need to look at it. Yeah, I was wounded in the Six Nations because I went overs on cards. I thought the refs were really going to crack down, and I think the refs went out of their way in the Six Nations not to give cards. The warm-up games have been very different, though. So, yeah, I've got to give this one further thought before I get any more involved. Just to mention, we got 2 Super Brew pools going with, well, the one is the Good for the Game free pool. We got betting vouchers up, prizes there. They have been confirmed, and we'll have them up in the next day or two. So that's free. And then the 7-1 bench split, and that's pay to play. 500 Rand gets you in to that. So if you are keen to play, we're hoping to get that pot up to somewhere close to the 50,000 mark. We'll see. We've got a lot of entries so far. But the proof of the pudding is, of course, if guys actually pay to play. But I think a lot of excitement building around that. Peter Paul just saying, he couldn't do the exotics on. Obviously, he couldn't do the multiples between them on Bet Exchange. So it is quite rare to find that when you can do that one. Guys, I was thinking maybe next we go to something like the top try scorer market. Unless you want to highlight anything else in particular, I just want to. There's so many markets. It's actually quite. Yeah, I think this must be it. Yeah. Top tournament try scorer. We got Will Jordan trading as favorite there at just over 8. Well, just under 19 to 1. Damien Pinot, he's 20 to 1. There seem to be some big prices here, guys. What do Couch? I'll start with you. What do you like? Do you like Jesse Creel South African top try scorer at 34 to 1? I'd hate to see what his price is for top try scorer in the World Cup.
Yeah, he's probably. I think I don't know. Maybe Gavin was involved with pricing the try scorers. He's got me hook, line, and sinker. It's try scorers all day long for me. Chris was there. I know I've backed Jesse Creel to be South Africa's top try scorer, but it's just that was just a price punt. To me, I've got Bongi Mbonambe at 75 to 1 to be the top tournament try scorer now. The big thing you got to know is that no matter how much I love my hookers, the wingers have been the top try scorers, and I think pretty much every World Cup. So it's definitely, Henrik said he's like history. So the history definitely isn't in favor of a hooker getting the job done. But I've said in my column, the next one coming on the exotics, it's just, there are a few factors to keep in mind. And I think squad selection is a big one. And again, with the centers, I say JC Creel should get plenty of game time because we don't really have alternative 13. The same thing with the hookers. Our hookers are going to be rotating. I think maybe against Armenia we'll have Dion Fourie covering on bench and one of them starting. And I have a feeling it'll be Bongi starting there and probably being the captain since he's been going into the leadership role. And I think Marx has wrestled the starting berth away. So we're going to see a lot of Bongi on the bench for the big games. But it doesn't really bother me in terms of try scorer because he can still come on and get the try at the end and that kind of thing. So hopefully he'll pick up a couple here and there. And if he can get the start against Armenia and pick up a hat trick, then all of a sudden you've got a heck of a runner there. But definitely wingers. And to me, again, the other aspect, of course, is the game time, because you want to play against the minnow. And that's a problem with a Will Jordan and those kind of guys at the top of the boards, Cheslin Colby. They're probably going to be rested against the smaller guys. But just, sorry, I don't want to bore you guys too much, but France and New Zealand have two more minnow teams to me, so they're going to put bigger scores on there. So that's where I'll be looking for try scorers, because they could rack up quite a lot there in those games against Namibia and Uruguay. So it could be free flowing. So I still think Damien Pinot at 20-1, Brent, it's a decent price. Hopefully he gets a start against one of those two, and then he's going to start all the other games, and France should go deep. So 20-1 is a tasty price.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. In fact, Henrik, I'd have to say all of those prices look pretty good. I was sort of expecting one or two guys in single figures, but not the case at all here. Just before Henrik goes up, how do you pronounce his name? Noah Konatawasi. Mark, someone put that on the forum at 56. I jumped all over it, and it went out to 58-1. I mean, that's typical Oracle setting the prices. Yeah. Gavin, what do you think? Henrik, what do you think? There's some good prices there, man.
Yeah, Brent. I remember Hein calling him Namakwa. It's just easy as a South African to call him Namakwa. He's playing. He's a nippy player, and he just goes over the advantage line the whole time. Brent, this is not my market. I don't like top try scorer markets. I'm terrible at it. I pick guys and they are never close to any runners. You probably have to, like Hein said as well, and you have to look at who's going to play against the minnow teams, and especially the teams they're going to rest. They're going to play the guy who's probably on the bench, the winger that's on the bench for the main games. A guy like Lester Fanga, Nuku. If Rico Ioane, if you knew he's going to start against the lower teams, then you can take him as well, because he likes scoring tries, but he's probably not going. So I'm not sure he's going to start at outside centre for the All Blacks in the lesser game against the lesser teams. I like a guy like Kobus Reinach to be a South African top try scorer, because he's going to start against the Romania and Tonga and those teams, and he likes scoring tries. Obviously, the hookers, like Hein said, the set pieces, the mauls are so important these days. You have to go for the hookers. But if you're looking at wingers and outside backs, you're gonna have to look at the guys playing against the lesser teams. But I kind of like Kobus Reinach to be top South African try scorer. But like I said, I'm terrible at these markets.
Yeah, I'm going to have a good look at these markets. We'll probably do another couple of videos on them, because I really enjoy them. But yeah, you try and figure out exactly what are teams thinking, and who's going to play against the minnow sides and all of that sort of stuff. And certainly, I don't know, that Fijian winger who played number 14 on the weekend against England, he missed a very soft tackle early, but after that I was hell of impressed with him. And someone like that you could see running in quite a few tries as well.
And a good point as well, Brent, on someone like Fiji is they unlikely to really rest the players. They still got to play their very best against Georgia. They're going to be playing. It's probably just one game that they might consider just arresting someone. So that's a good idea. The only one I want to throw in there, I'll leave you to it this week to do your research, but is Vunivalu for Australia. I know you've got old Mark Namakwa there, but Vunivalu is pretty much 50-50 to start becoming the first choice winger there. I think he had a decent outing this past weekend, so he could steal the starting berth. And even if he doesn't, if he starts in the lesser games, then he's going to get a real shout. I mean, he's 11-1 to be Australia's top try scorer, and as a winger, that's a runner to me. And if they exit in the group stages, as I think they have a shot of doing, then if you play the minnow games, you are probably going to be the leading try scorer there if you're a winger. So it's between one of two guys. So I really like that play.
Brent,
yeah, that's an interesting one.
Sorry, one other thing. I've got a strange theory on wingers. I like left wingers to be top try scorer, or to score more tries than the right winger. I've always had this theory from like I was at school. Most guys pass better to their left from their right, and so you get better passes and to finish the try, stuff like that. And also, if you go for the cross kick, the right kicker would kick better to the left. So I always like the left wingers for that one.
Henrik, can you guess the last three top try scorers out of the last three World Cups?
Probably going to be right wingers.
No. Actually, your theory is 2 out of 3 there. It's Chris Ashton, Julian Sevilla, and Josh Adams. So it is two left wingers. Yeah.
Okay.
Alex is making the point. These are really good prices. I hope these prices last, because I'm hoping the show has a bit of longevity to it. When people log on Saturday and the prices have all halved, they're not going to be too impressed. Vodavula just craps his Farid. Yeah, I was under that impression as well. But I can tell you, here's a tactic Australia are going to use: up and unders into the behind the dead ball line, where he just has to catch it and drop to the ground. I can see, because there was that one move they tried on the weekend where Gordon, they weren't under penalty advantage. It was a bit of a strange move. He cross-kicked. Vanivula went up and he kind of got it, and it looked like a planned move to me, that there was a guy running. So he drew the 2 defenders and he was meant to tap it to the guy running around the outside, and it went wrong. The pass went wrong on that. But I think Australia have got a plan with that guy, and they're going to use it a lot, and they're going to win the World Cup. No, I'm only kidding. But I think they are going to. I think they're going to use some plans there. But let's move on to tournament top point scorer then. Henrik, who were you saying earlier? Were you saying, was it you or Couch saying Ramos?
Ramos, yeah, I like Ramos. Because he kicks very well. He's probably the best goal kicker in the world at the moment. His percentages and everything says that. So, and if you fancy France to go deep, get through their quarterfinal, they're playing at home. And again against France this on Sunday in the warm-up game, they take every opportunity they get to take the points. They take the points. They go for the 3 points. So he's a great option for. There's a reason why he's the favorite, but it's still a good price.
Yeah, no, fair enough. In fact, these prices are good. I'm definitely loading up on my Boyle Sports account after this. I hadn't seen these prices yet. I'm like gagging. I'm almost going to end the show now just so I can start betting. It's absolutely crazy, but we'll see. I'm pretty certain some of these prices are going to shorten, but hopefully they'll still keep some of the big prices up. Couch, what you got for us? I mean, I know you guys are not looking at Australia, but I'm looking at Carter Gordon going, okay, the guy kicked terribly on the weekend, but like Mani Leboki is allowed an off day every now and again. He's come back. They've only got the one fly. I don't see him playing every game, but I'm saying 20 to 1 seems. I was willing to take 10 to 1 on him, and he's 20 to 1. Couch, what you got for us?
Yeah, if you like Aussie, then I mean that's a cracker. I'm obviously in the Argentinian camp, so that leaves me with Boffelli. I mean, Henrik has said Ramos is a sharpshooter. Boffelli isn't too far behind. He knocks him over, and he's got a long range as well. So I like Boffelli at that price as well. Yeah, I think it's 10.5. So it's a good one to me. But yeah, Ramos definitely. Again, it's just that little trick on the 4 favorites where you could be out in a quarter, and that's a bugger up with these kind of plays. Top try scorer, top point scorer. You need him to be in the top 4 so that he can at least play in that third playoff as well.
Okay, so Bitsy's come in with a couple of UFC bets. Is that next weekend's one? Because I've been writing a few UFC previews, so I may even recognize a few of those names. Right, guys. Well, we talked about plenty. There's certainly some good value there on the Boyles website, and as I said, please log on to Good for the Game first and click on the banner to show them that we're sending some business their way. Although I'm not so sure they're going to be happy about the business we're sending their way. It might be
Brent, there's one more for me on the top on the player of the tournament. You had DuPont. I'll see your DuPont, and I'm gonna raise you Sia Kulisi 20 to 1 player of the tournament. He's walking on water at the moment. He's you can't switch on the TV without seeing his face if you watch it for an hour. I think he's playing incredible rugby since coming back from injury. He's an inspirational leader. I just think if the Boks do the job and get the trophy. We said South Africa just under 4 to 1, but you can get Sia Kulisi 20 to 1. I mean, it might be a shift between Moni Lebok and Pollard at 10. Maybe someone like Kitshoff and Marks could get in the running. Peter Steff the toy, obviously, but to me, Sia Kulisi, I think you could do worse.
I agree.
People in agreement with me on that Carter Gordon one. What do you think of Sia Kulisi, Henrik?
Brent, I'm not a fan of Sia Kulisi. I don't like the guy, but he is he's probably the most marketable guy in the world. Everybody, he's on every. He is marketing, or everyone's marketing him, and he's on every billboard. He's everywhere. My kids love him. The way I hate him, they love him. The kids at my boys' school, everybody, they are crazy about him. And if the Boks go all the way, like Ian said, he's got to have a chance, because he's just like a poster boy for World Rugby at the moment, like the Pond. So 20-1, that's a great price on him as well, I think.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think any team that wins the tournament's always got a good chance, certainly winning, of making the final, of getting their play in there. So plenty of exotic markets for us to consider, guys. I'm just laughing that guys definitely don't think Carter Gordon's a good pick there, 20-1 to be top try scorer. Alex says he can't even kick. Come on, guys. Eddie knows what he's doing. Carter Gordon's going to come good in this World Cup. I can tell you guys that. But anyway, gents, any other exotic markets you want to bring up then before we maybe decide on our best bets and we all log off and load our Boyle Sports accounts?
No, nothing from me.
I think I'll still leave one or two for the preview there, Brent.
Excellent. But of the stuff that we discussed tonight, then, if you had to pick one bet, it doesn't have to be the most likely to win, but let's just say the best value. Henrik, what do you think?
Argentina to make the semis, Brent, or Argentina to top the group. I think you're getting more than even money on Argentina to top the group. I think you're getting a great value, great bet. It's obviously you have to wait about 5 weeks or so, 5 to 6 weeks. But it's great. I think it's a great bet, even though it's not a big price. Either one of those two, Argentina top the group or to make the semis.
Right. I'm on another computer now. I want to do that draw thing, and I haven't been able to do it yet. I know while I'm searching for that, share your best bet with us, please.
Yeah, Brent, I think Argentina to top the pool, especially if you took it a little bit earlier, that 2-1, that would have been a nice one. Now, probably as Henrik says, to make the semis, that's just the runner to me in that pool. And then maybe have a look out at South Africa and France to be the finalists. I don't think we had a look at that, but that could be a nice price as well. I think that's a good final. Obviously, the quarters is an issue in that group, but to me, it's still a nice value play. Siya Kolisi, man of the tournament, 20-1.
Right, excellent. Well, guys, we're going to do the draw. Anybody who made a comment is eligible. Giving away a 500 Rand poker bet voucher there. I've been playing quite a lot of poker on poker bet with I keep building up a nice kitty and then doing something stupid and losing it all, but going quite well. I'm going to do this draw. We've got 18 entries into the draw. If you do win this, just email me, brent@goodforthegame.co.za, to win your prize. Let's have a look here. Ooh, nearly Hendrik Swart. Mark Dunphy. I know he's Irish based, so he probably can't bet it. So, Mark, if you wanted to claim it, you're more than welcome to. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a game, and let's see if we can get a South African guy to do it. And 2M Systems. I know 2M Systems from South Africa. 2M Systems, I don't know if you've got a poker bet account, but send me an email, brent@goodforthegame.co.za, and I'll organize your $500 voucher for you there. First of all, to the guys in the live chat, thanks very much. We had a lot of activity tonight. I think I'm going to have to get a producer for the show, because I'm bouncing around between the live chat and trying to do all of the stuff. It's a little bit crazy. And then to my two guests, Couch, great to have you back on the show, and look forward to working with you on a few things over the World Cup. It's going to be great.
Cheers, Brent. Awesome. Good being back.
Excellent. I know you can't let the boys down. When it comes to match previews, there's got to be a hooker or two in there, eh?
Definitely will be. Bongi all the way.
Excellent. And Henrik, great chatting to you, man. We'll also be talking to you a lot over the World Cup, I'm sure. But yeah, go and load that Boyles account and start placing some bets.
Thanks, Brent. Thanks for having me. And good luck to all the guys. It's going to be a great World Cup, rugby-wise and betting-wise. It's going to be lots of opportunities. And get on early.
Excellent.
Brent, I think Henrik just needs to make sure he shares his international number with us so we can just get weather updates from the quarterfinals.
Oh, exactly. Yes, we definitely want that.
I'll have my WhatsApp running so you can WhatsApp me.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks, everyone. Remember that as of next week, we'll probably be moving to Friday. We're also going to have a couple of other shows next week. So keep an eye on the Good for the Game website and on our Twitter feeds and that for all the latest details. As 2M Systems, our winner says, good luck, guys. Let's hit those bookies hard.